He's right on. He said, listen, I know that all these people are caught up in this college scam, but what's new? Happened to a lot of people. Maybe someone even in someone's family that we talk about a lot.
Well.
Not the illegal part, but spending money to get people into college who don't necessarily deserve it.
Yep. We're seeing an aspect of privilege that I think we're only seeing the first part of. I think more is to come. I'll check with you in a second.
See ya.
All right, bud. All right, that was the theme song to All in the Family, by the way. Some of you are probably too young. You may YouTube it. All right, Hollywood and the Justice Department, what D. Lemon was just talking about right there, they collided in this admissions bust. But I think you have to see it as way more than just a matter of law. It should be, but it is a window into something else that is even more dangerous than the criminality. The argument next.
Good shot.
Listen, we know colleges can play favorites. Donations, favors. People with great wealth often get great access. But what we learned about today is worse than we knew, and the feds agree.
We're not talking about donating a building so that a school's more likely to take your son or daughter. We're talking about deception and fraud.
The man at the center, William Singer, wrote a book about getting into college in which he says the key is to develop a personal brand that allows a student to stand that he left out. The desperation to be among the privileged few, especially among the privileged, those with expectations of achieving a certain social standing. Now that can be money-making motivation for those without ethics. And this guy Singer smelled that desperation. And he knew the weaknesses in the system because he'd been in it. And those coaches were a weakness in the system. A lack of ethics, the surplus of those willing to cheat the system on all levels to give an edge to families who often already have every edge. He put it this way. There's a front door, which means you get in on your own. The back door is through institutional advancement. It's like a nice way of talking about what? Diversity, which is 10 times as much money. And I've created this side door in. Institutional advancement, he's talking about like buying buildings. It's dealing with very rich people. So it takes me to the truly frightening aspect of this. The shock of the scale and scope of the sting by the feds. 50 people, including parents, coaches, exam administrators. Imagine what we don't know. Because what makes this guy special? Singer's no genius. He worked in sales and marketing. He ran a call center before finding his way into this world of educational advantage. If this guy was able to game the system, what else is going on? We don't police this. We depend on the universities. And we know what they're going to do. They're going to protect the institution. How did these families, these well-to-do types, know to go to this guy? How did he manage to keep it so quiet for so long? How many others are running scams on tests and other facets of admissions at individual schools or on the outside like him? This isn't something that gets a lot of attention from law enforcement. And like I said, man, schools are willing, sometimes too willing, to keep transgressions quiet. A couple of schools involved put out statements about implicated staff who are no longer there. Why aren't they already there? Did they know before now? College isn't everything, okay? Many people who go into the trades do very well, live very happy lives without the piece of parchment. And in the new tech economy, some are self-starters, and America has always been a place where an idea and ambition can get you places. But let's be honest.
Hey,
there's a preference for those who go to college. Studies say men with bachelor's degrees earn $900,000 more in a lifetime than high school grads. For women, it's $630,000 more. That's another problem, that inadequacy. We'll deal with that another time. We need to make sure that access to advancement is as pure as it can be. It's not just being nice or even being fair. It's a safeguard of the American dream.
You got his
Think about it this way. Right now, all across this country, parents are working their asses off saving for college and to give their kids a chance to get there. Kids all over the country are working their asses off as well. One better be doing that in my house right now. We can't let any of those people think that they're boxed out before the game begins. It's definitional to our promise as a people and a nation. This guy can't be the only one. We must shine a light and make an example, this time and every time. Trust me, stay tuned. Thank you for watching. CNN Tonight with D. Lemon starts right now.
At Salesforce, we're all about asking more of AI. Questions like, where's the data going? Is it secure? Are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? Get answers you can trust from Salesforce at AskMoreOfAI.com.
I am Chris Cuomo. Welcome to Prime Time. Did the president try to obstruct the Michael Cohen case? Did he try to float a pardon? We have two new sources of concern. One are emails obtained by CNN showing this odd back channel between Cohen and the president and what was said. The other comes from what was not said by former acting AG Matthew Whitaker today regarding control of the Cohen case. Does this mean anything for the president legally or politically? We have the head of the GOP here. Does she want to defend, or is this something to be dismissed? And what does it mean for 2020? Plus, the Boeing jets deemed unsafe to fly overseas, finally grounded here at home. Key word is finally. Did this take too long? Was this motivated by facts or money? We're going to dig much deeper tonight. What do you say? Let's get after it. What a dizzying day. Let me try to help you put it in focus, all right? Put the lens on some substantial news that could be damaging for the president. Do you remember this?
At no time has the White House asked for, nor have I provided, any promises or commitments concerning the special counsel's investigation or any other investigation.
All right, now look, the word commitments tweaked some of the Democratic lawmakers. Well, does that mean you didn't talk about it at all, or you didn't promise anything? So when the president's former acting attorney general testified, wasn't satisfying enough. So he was hauled back to the Hill to clarify today what happened. Well, we're not going to know in large part because it was closed. But the head of the Judiciary Committee says that Whitaker did not deny talking about control of the Cohen to the AG's office. It's lasted less than Benghazi. It's about to wrap up. It's produced a tremendous amount of convictions and people put under indictment.
Related to nothing having to, Paul Manafort, what's happened to him today, it's about money laundering, it's about tax evasion, it's about his personal business. Michael Cohen is about his personal business dealings with his tax fraud, with lying to Congress. But he was put in jail because of his lying about his financial status on bank documents.
Right, but
so many of this had to do with their personal
He pled to a felony with hush money.
Yeah.
You know this. That matters too.
But he's going to jail for many things that he was doing in his personal life. None of it has to do with collusion. And I do think we want to see this investigation.
The charges don't have to do with collusion. I accept that. Because I don't see criminality as a bar for wrongdoing. And I know you don't either. Because over the years, Republicans have made character huge. You've never been felony but fine. You weren't that with any other Democratic politician, nor should you be. Mike Pence wrote a very eloquent essay about Bill Clinton saying, you know what? We have to judge him as a neighbor, not just as some burglar, just because he didn't trip the line that makes it a felony. He said it. Now, if it's not a felony, it's fine. Paul Manafort gives polling data that the Russians use, arguably, to target places for their interference. You have Flynn, who reaches out to people he knew he shouldn't have. You have Roger Stone, who reached out to people who knew they shouldn't have. And everybody lies about it because they knew it was wrong, and it doesn't bother you.
And it had no substantial effect on the election. The president did not collude with the Russians. But why don't we wait till the Mueller report comes out? Because when it comes out and says there's no collusion, are the Democrats going to say, okay, you're right, there was, we trust Mueller, it's done?
But how can he say
the reality,
there was no
Chris,
collusion when they're the ones that told us about Manafort?
This is a president that's delivering day in and day out. And that's what I always go back to.
Please.
And I do polling every day, and I'm in the States, and I'm all across the country. Voters are saying, what is the president doing to make my life better?
I think that's 100%
What is he doing? What are the results when unemployment's at the lowest for African Americans and Hispanics and for women, and they see jobs coming back? I was in a state that was decimated. We were decimated after 2008. Home prices were gone, wages were stagnant. I had friends lose their homes, had to file for bankruptcy. President Trump provided a lifeline for a state like mine that nobody was paying attention to.
Well, we know factually
and now
that's
we're
not
seeing
true. 2008, you were put in the hole under a Republican president.
And then it continued. It was an anemic recovery.
But it wasn't enough. An anemic recovery is a little bit of an oxymoron.
When your wages are stagnant and now you're seeing wages growing for the first time in a decade, that's an improvement.
In some spaces. I don't think that it's fair to argue there is nothing positive going on.
There's a lot positive.
I deal with that all the time. But why exclude one part of the analysis in favor of the other? Why can't it be both?
I'm just saying, I don't think voters care about that. As we're heading into 2020.
Every poll shows that they care. It's like 2 out of 3 voters.
But it's not the top. It is not the top of what they care about. They care about the economy. They care about jobs. They care about how's my family doing? Can my kids get a job when they graduate from college?
Should it matter?
How are my schools?
Of course.
That's what they care about.
But they care about this too. And I get the political
I'm not saying
spin.
I don't care. I'm just saying let the investigation take place.
Well, you
Let's
did
see
say
what
they
ends
don't
up-
care. And guys say it all the time on this show. People don't care about this. We know they care about it.
But
Why
let the
shouldn't they
investigation
care?
take place. Why are we jumping to conclusions? There's too much jumping to conclusions. Let it take place. The
I
report's
agree
going to
there
come
is
out.
some
Shot.
jumping to
You got
conclusions. I would
his
challenge you
head.
to tell me what conclusion I'm jumping.
I'm not saying you, just
Okay.
across the
What-
spectrum.
What I'm saying is, should it matter to the American people if the president and people around him lied about things that they did that were wrong? Not crimes. Let's assume none is a crime, but they knew they did things they shouldn't have done and lied to us, hoping we wouldn't find out.
I think it matters.
And they messed with the probe that was digging into the same things because they didn't like
I
the
think
questions
the
being asked.
American people, actually, a lot of people I talk to are more concerned about